I'm live. All right. Oh, you knew I was going to come in here and sit down and get to Sunday night scratches. I didn't have time to make any tea tonight, so there's no tea for tea with the herb guy. But crud. I'll be right back. Move, boy. Move. Look out. Keep going. You coming back? Okay. I'm back. Forgot. I had something I wanted to show tonight. Is it going to show it right? Yes, it is. All right, good. Hey, Mitchell. I have your blend made, Mitchell, by the way. So that was weird. What are you doing? I know. She's a pest. She can't help it. Sorry about Ginger. She's being a little bit of a pest right now. So I hope somebody brought some questions tonight so we have something to talk about. Otherwise, this will be a very short live. He knows that I'm going to be sitting in a place where he can get me kind of cornered, so he comes and gets his pets. Well, this blend, Mitchell says that he was checking my page. I made this blend specifically for you, for what we talked about. So there's some special instructions for it. I made enough of a blend that you can make a tincture, and then you'll have enough to use until the tincture is ready, if that makes sense. So there's enough in it that you can add it to your food for the length of time it's going to take for the tincture to be made. And then by the time the tincture is done, you'll probably be out of the powder. But you can do the powder for the first couple of weeks and then do the tincture after it's ready, if that makes sense. It's a pretty big bundle. It's a pretty big package. So make sure to put enough in there specifically for that. The whole thing is for you. What? Oh my God, you're so needy. Yes, it's Morpheus. I'll send you an email through PayPal, and we'll go from there. I'm going to bring up one of the herbal medicine course is still on for Tuesday. The document part has been posted. So the part where you guys can download and read the first section, like if you were to get any type of course, it's going to be printed up. So you get those printable documents. Those are up and posted now. The thing about that is, though, that's for $3 members. How I've decided to do it is we'll do the videos can be for all paid members, right? And the video part of it. But if you want the documents, if you want the Word PDF documents, so you have it for your own records, that will be for $3 members. Do $3 members? Hey, how are you, Anne Marie? Do $3 members feel that's fair? You know, the video, we can go through the video. There won't be a lot of printed stuff, but the $3 members will get the video and get the documentation that goes with it. That way, the paid members are still getting access to the course, but unfortunately, they won't get the other stuff that goes with that. Though I think there's only one patron here tonight right now. I think that's you, Mitchell. I think you're the only one. So my dog is feeling very lonely today, apparently. Hey, there's Cindy. All right, Cindy, I'll ask you. You're another $3 patron. How I decided I'd like to do the herbal course or the herbal medicine workshop is $3 members will be the only ones to get access to the printed stuff, right? The stuff that you can save and download and all that. And then the paid members can have access to the video. You guys will have access to the video too, but all paid members will get access to the video, but only the paid members get the more detailed, in-depth stuff. You think that sounds fair? If anybody thinks that sounds fair, leave a comment, by the way. I haven't sent it yet, but well, that's not an opinion, though. It's not very helpful. I'm trying to get more people to want to be involved in it, and so we picked up some new patrons with the videos, but let's be real, those platforms aren't going to promote that. This platform isn't going to promote that either. So, but one of the things we're going to be talking about, and I'm going to be breaking it down on Tuesday night, but I do happen to have kind of a prop. This is a materia medica, and it translates into, get the body of remedial substances used in the practice of medicine is the translation of it. That's Latin, materia medica. And the body of remedial, which means the remedies, right? The body of remedies that are used in medicine. And we used to have a materia medica back in the day, and that was basically all the herbs that we had done research on up to that point. And there's still a lot of them here in the United States. We're just now getting around to testing, because we've only been here, a couple hundred years. And, we were using the herbs that had come from Europe, and we'd, transferred over here, a lot of them anyway. So a lot of the herbs from around here aren't necessarily as well known as some of the others that have been used around the world forever. So this one here is specifically from China, though. This one is from a traditional Chinese medicine college course, and it actually contains 6 books. I only have the one. I'm looking for the other 5. But the herbs in this, they don't necessarily list the herbs that you would recognize, especially if you're Western practicing medicine, right? Western practicing herbalist. Most of the herbs, almost all the herbs that are in here are from China or from the Asian continent, right? And there's hundreds of them, and they go into quite a bit of detail, but they're described in the use of traditional Chinese medicine, right? And there's a lot of difference in traditional Chinese medicine and their approach to using herbal medicine versus what we use here in Western society, okay? And a lot of people here in the West, we kind of, poo-poo it, that's just crap, it doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. But they've been using it for thousands of years. I mean, so clearly it does work, right? And just because they're not necessarily doing the type of science that you expect, they still have thousands of years of, if you want to use the term, anecdotal evidence on the use of these. But those guys are actually, they're doctors, right? That's their version of doctors. So, I mean, we can't necessarily discount them because, we rank like 37th, 38th in the world in healthcare. So, to try to poo-poo a whole nother culture's medicinal practices seems kind of asinine from my perspective. Anyway, that's when you just have to roll your eyes. But yeah, this one I've had for a while. They don't really have, some of these herbs aren't necessarily found or even researched as far as, European medicine goes, and that's where a majority of herbal medicine is studied. And a lot of it's studied here, but they study it here more along the lines in order to break them down by their constituents and then make the drugs out of the chemicals they get out of the plant, specific chemicals in particular. So you guys are supposed to bring questions, by the way. That was the deal. There's only 4 of you, but I'm sure one of you would have some sort of question. So yeah, this one's pretty fascinating. We're gonna briefly cover it Tuesday night and talk about some of the other history. The first section of it's probably going to be pretty dry and boring for some people, and there's going to be other people that are going to want to jump right in. But from my perspective, that was one of the hardest parts about putting an herbal medicine course together is, God, where do you start? Right. I've been doing this for more than 30 years. Um, where do you start? Right. So I had to start at the very beginning, and there's going to be a lot of retrospection. There'll be a lot of simple exercises after the course for you to do throughout the week so we can discuss them the following Tuesday. Um, and the good thing about it is, there's going to be a lot of hands-on. You're gonna, a lot of it's going to make you think. You're going to have to do a little bit of research, and it is going to take a little bit of work, but by the end, you should be pretty comfortable with the knowledge that you have to be able to start applying that kind of stuff to your daily life. So, yeah, Cindy says she likes research. Not everybody likes research. Touch Mitchell's afraid to touch the screen. But, in order to learn about it, right, you can't necessarily have people um, always try to just tell you what an herb is good for, right? Because there's more to it than just what is this herb good for, What can I take for this or what can I take for that? And that's part of what we addressed because, to be fair, the herbal medicine section of it is only part two, right? I think what we have 14 sections or something like that, 12, 14 sections. We're going to cover a lot of different modalities of healing. This is only a tiny part of the actual healing journey. Okay. So the course is natural healing. The course isn't just specifically for herbal medicine, right? That's not where we want to stay. The herbs are only kind of a crutch in reality, if you want to look at it that way. It's not something you necessarily should have to take every day if you've addressed the root issue. Okay. So instead of getting out of the mindset of thinking of daily supplements, get into the mindset of fixing the root cause. So, the rest of the modalities are going to tie into it. I may end up tying a couple of them together in one course, in one section of the course. So, if a couple of them are fairly close, like maybe frequency and song, um, or chanting, there's a lot. There's a lot we can go through, but there's a lot. If you go through the original syllabus, there's a ton of stuff we're going to cover, and there's a few more that I want to bring into it. Maybe some grounding, different ways to ground. All my cats. It's funny. All the animals decide to kind of come in here when I come in here. If I decide to go lay down and take a nap, they all want to follow me in there and take a nap. It's interesting. Tibetan bowls. Well, yeah, that's part of. I think that one is the Tibetan bowls is, I believe, frequency. I believe so. Um, yeah, those are pretty interesting, and it's the sound, the frequency of the sound that comes off. You have the deep Om chanting. That's shown to be pretty beneficial as well. It sets your body. Um, you could probably include that one with mindful meditation. So, that's an interesting one too. Yeah, we'll be covering a lot of stuff like that throughout the course. But for the herbal medicine course, we're obviously just going to stick with herbs. I kind of want to get people out of the mindset of thinking that it's just herbal medicine, right? You don't want to think herbal medicine, home remedy. Kind of. I kind of try to stay away from those terms because though they're accurate in what they do, they're not. They're taken as a lesser type of knowledge, right? It's not as formalized and it's not as well accepted. So I try to avoid that. Intention is everything, yes. So when it comes to it, you know, I mean, plant-based medicine has its own section of chemistry. It's called phytochemistry, which is plant-based chemistry. And each plant has tons of chemicals in it. And I kind of want the herbal medicine class, to be fair, is going to be more of like a science class. A lot of the stuff we're going to discuss, like in part two, we'll be breaking down a lot of how the chemicals are divided, right, and how they work in the body. things like that. And that'll give you a little bit more of an in-depth look at the wide variety of options you have as far as herbal medicine goes. I mean, there's a tons of variety. Many of those plants will have dozens, if not hundreds plural, of chemical compounds in a single plant, right? Hundreds of chemical. I think there's one that has over 300 chemical compounds. So, probably a few. I mean, you have all the ones down in South America as well. So, I mean, it it can be kind of complicated, but we're gonna try to keep it simple. So after we get this one done, how depending on how successful it is and how much people learn, we may end up doing a more advanced herbal medicine class, discussing some of the more advanced techniques. But to be fair, if you fix the first three things, herbal medicine is really just kind of a occasional thing that you might need occasionally, but it's good to know. Definitely good to have that knowledge. Somebody asked me that today when I told them, about they were asking they saw me on social media, but they didn't know what I did, and they were asking me about what I did, and I told them, and they asked me a question that kind of took me off guard for a minute. They're like, "Do you like it?" It's like, nobody's ever asked me that before. My thought is, initially it was like, well, yeah, of course I like it, but then it was like, well, I mean, is it really a course? Because there's some days I just don't want to, and some days I won't do a video. I just don't want to. Don't have the oomph. Don't have the desire. But there's other days that I'll do one. Like the next one I'm gonna do is simple home remedies for like lungs and congestion and stuff like that. And I'll do a quick how-to. Those seem to get a lot of engagement depending on what the topic is. And I mean, it's kind of hard to tell what people are looking for as far as natural healing goes at any given moment. So you have to kind of skew your content towards what people are actually searching for if you want to get more people. And if you want to get the people that are currently following you, at least some of them anyway, then you have to do the same kind of stuff that you always do because that's what they expect to see. So it can be tedious, man. It could be a lot of a lot of work. So, and on top of everything else, trying to have to figure out an algorithm every week could be a pain in the ass. Oh, we're at 5 now. Hi, 5 of you. We had 4 earlier. So sometimes I wonder how accurate the counter is too. But so we're gonna do that one. I had another one in mind too. I can't think of what it was now. Do some more kitchen combat. See if I can get a couple different series going. I can kind of break them up, and because they seem to appeal to different kinds of people. So I need to do one on deer antler velvet too, and how people could potentially be misusing deer antler velvet. Has anybody? I mean, there's only 5 of you, but has anybody heard of deer antler velvet? And if you're watching this later, just kind of ask yourself, deer antler velvet, taking it as a supplement, or if you know somebody who's been taking it as a supplement. Um, I'm looking to see if there's any questions. So here's what deer antler velvet is. It is essentially the nubs of the antlers of a deer. They come back every spring, and when they get a certain length, they're trimmed off, they're dried out, they're powdered, and they're used because they're loaded with hormones. I mean, they're a hormone powerhouse. They have testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, have like 7 different kinds of growth hormones, like, typical human growth hormones, skin fibroblast hormones, all these different kinds, IGF-1, and they're loaded with hormones. The thing is, though, when people use it, they take it in supplement form, which is typically in the form of capsules, right? And that sounds good if you think about, wow, man, getting those hormones. The downside to it is, and the more research you do on it, if you look at deer antler velvet and those molecules that form those hormones, right? Those hormones are formed by molecules. Those molecules are pretty delicate, right? Hormonal molecules tend to be pretty delicate and easily disrupted. So once it hits the hydrochloric acid in your stomach, that's going to start breaking those hormones down, and it's going to make it much less effective by the time it gets to your digestive tract. Okay, So, and then of course you've got all the stuff in your digestive system that's going to potentially be breaking them down too before they actually make it where they need to go, which is into your bloodstream, right? You need those hormones in your bloodstream in order to be able to access them. So, from my perspective, adding it to a smoothie or putting it in your beverages or taking it as a capsule or just taking the powder just like it is, I don't think, from my perspective, that you're getting the most benefit from all of those hormones because I believe your body's working against you in this instance, right? You're going to have all these different compounds in your gut and in, other parts of your body that are going to disrupt the hormones that you're trying to ingest. So, from my perspective, the best way to get access to those hormones to be able to use them and make them more bioavailable for your body would be an alcohol-based extract because a huge majority of those hormones are alcohol or solvent soluble. And what that means is they're you can draw them out using alcohol. Some of them are water soluble, so you can use like a 50-50 mix of alcohol to water, but you can also, you can go higher up if you want to make sure that you're pulling out all the compounds. Because the problem with deer antler velvet is it's super dense, right? Even those nubs, once they're dried, they're super dense and very hard. So the lining of the powder, the lining that's holding those compounds in is going to be pretty hard and difficult to get those compounds out without a higher concentration of alcohol. So for the best results, I would say to use like a 151 to be fair, and then you would use that under the tongue, right? Which is going to give you under the tongue and around the lips and gums, like you would with tobacco, you know. Um, what that's going to do is it's going to give it a direct line to your bloodstream. It's going to completely bypass your digestive system and you'll be able to absorb those on more of a biomolecular level, right? They're going to get into where they need to be. And I just happen to think that that's going to be more effective. So I'm going to do a video about that and point that out because a lot of the people like on Instagram are really into that healthy stuff like that. And I think they would be very, at the very least, a few of them would be like, yeah, because especially if you're someone, if you're an older male and you're trying to up your testosterone, or if you're a female and you need to get more estrogen, this is loaded with it, right? It's got progesterone as well, which is the precursor for both, right? It's a precursor hormone that helps to create either estrogen or testosterone. It helps with other hormones too, but for the most part, they're primarily for testosterone and estrogen. So and then of course all the IGF factors, right? You have your growth hormones, you've got it's just some that are for immune support, some that are for bone structure. I mean, it runs the gamut. I think there was like 7 or 9 different growth hormones that are in those. But I think if you're just taking them by capsule form, you're doing yourself a disservice. Yeah, tincture would be the best way. I think I would have to say that would be the best way to use it. That's just my opinion, right? And the only way I can test it is I'm testing it now. I discussed last week that I'm getting ready to patent a face cream, and I've done it 2 different ways, and then once I figure out which way works the best, um, I'm also going to. That's when I have to go and send it off for chemical analysis. And unfortunately, it costs like $1,000. So it's not going to be an immediate thing. But I do have a plan to send that off, get it chemically analyzed, and then I'll be better able to see which ones come out of which extract best. But I'm pretty certain I would be willing to bet that it's going to be the alcohol extract. So that's just me, though. I mean, the water is going to get some of those out, but I don't think the water is going to be enough to get through some of the harder membranes to pull some of the more delicate and the more viable hormones out. So I mean that's but then that work the alcohol thing actually is kind of relevant for a few different herbs, and I'm gonna have to do another video for that too, I'm pretty sure, and point out that some herbs do require higher alcohol concentration to get the best or the most out of it. um, Milk thistle is one of them, turmeric is one of them, Those have, like, to get the curcumin out, you really need to be sure, for the turmeric, you need to be sure that you're using a higher concentration of alcohol. Same with the milk thistle. The milk thistle is a pretty dense seed. If you've ever seen the seed, it looks like little wheat. It looks like, it very much resembles wheat in how it appears. And um, they're pretty hard. They're very, very hard. So it would take quite a bit to get it out, and in the water just isn't quite enough. Taking them like in capsule form or taking it as tea isn't really as good either. And just take, your digestive system isn't enough to really get that silymarin out. It has to be extracted through an alcohol extract, at least according to the studies. That's what the studies have shown. You want to get the most out of it, you have to use an alcohol extract. And there's people that are like, well, I can't do alcohol. It's like, that's really unfortunate. But, I mean, I can't, what can I do with glycerin tincture? Yes, you can. That's still not going to necessarily do it. Now, however, I have developed a different format of making a glycerin-based tincture, but by using an alcohol-based tincture as your precursor. And you might be thinking, well, that doesn't make sense. You're just adding alcohol to the glycerin. No, not quite. What you're going to do is you're going to make your alcohol-based tincture, right? And that's going to be your base. And then you're going to have to add your glycerin to the proper ratio. So that way it's going to be thick enough that the glycerin doesn't ever go bad. And then you're going to have to heat it up enough to get rid of all the alcohol. And then once the alcohol is gone, all that's going to be left are the constituents the the tincture and the glycerin, right? So the alcohol will no longer be an option. However, the caveat to that is you heated it up. So some of those chemical compounds that are in the plants, depending on what you're doing, could be damaged by the heat. So that's one of the main downsides to making a glycerin-based tincture. People are so against alcohol that they don't think about that. And you know, I mean, if you're going to use your medicine, you might as well use it at its fullest effectiveness. So just my thought on that. For the most part, tincture is the best. And as a matter of fact, I just finished the Parasite Purge Potion. Tincture is finally ready again, and I've kind of revamped that usage for it. So instead of just using it under your tongue, which you can, which is going to be more effective for the bloodborne parasites, um, by just adding it to your beverage, put it in your smoothie, put it in your food, put it in your whatever, like put it in your meal just before you eat it all. And then you eat your food, you can ingest it that way as well in a tincture. So I had to make a special blend for my friend because he has a wart, and it's the same guy made the tincture for the capsules for the dog. Um, and I about 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, one of his daughters ended up with a wart on her toe, and the thing was so big that she wouldn't. The poor girl, she wouldn't wear sandals in the summer, so she wore boots all summer. And the thing was so big they named it Francine. So she had a wart named Francine on her toe. She goes, God, it looks like a second toe, and she was so embarrassed by it she wouldn't even show me. So I made some drops for her, and then I made a salve as well for her, and so she was using the drops, and then she got the bright idea of, why don't I just put the drops on the wart? So she was taking the drops and she was putting the drops on the wart at the same time. And within about a week and a half, the wart was gone. The whole thing was gone. She finished out the bottle, made her another bottle. She finished that one out, and it completely got rid of the wart. But it was kind of funny though. She named the wart, and it was a big old. She goes, it looks like a second towel. You gave us a tincture using carrot. You can use Caro syrup instead of glycerin, right? Because I'm gonna have to go get my charger for my computer. Quit being so needy. Otherwise, we're not gonna be alive very much longer. Oh, you didn't even move because you knew I was coming back, huh? You sneaky dog. Sorry about that. My computer was dying, or my laptop was dying, so I had to go get the plug for it. Morpheus, he's a boy. He's not a poor anything. He even got a new toy today. So now you're gonna have to do that tea 3 times a day. And what I would recommend, I'm not gonna recommend anything. What I would do, what I did with Morpheus was I put it in a syringe, and he got uh he got a full ounce 3 times a day in the syringe, and um, he's not very picky. So I mean, it wasn't giving him medicine super easy. But hey, Alan, how are you? Yeah, he's really giving him the medicine. Some dogs don't like that. So I'm actually considering if I can find all those ingredients in powder form, I'll probably turn it into capsules too, and then do parasite purge capsules, which would be the easiest form for many people. A lot of people would probably be more apt to want to do the capsules, and it'd be a little bit easier for me to make it because that would be what it'd be a 2, 4, 6, 42 capsules per 7 days. So you get 42 capsules versus the 60 capsule pack, because you do 2 capsules 3 times a day, and if it's an animal or a child, 1 capsule 3 times a day for 7 days. Yeah, that's not quite a powder. The parasite purge potion isn't quite a powder. Let's see, the wormwood in it. Yeah, the wormwood in it is definitely not a powder. I get some wormwood powder, and I'll definitely turn it into capsules, and I have no doubt that it'll probably sell a lot better in that form. Right now, I'm focusing more on the herb course, so I haven't re-upped on any of my herbs. I've re-upped my store. There's a lot more stuff in the store, so that's available. But other than that, I haven't. There's some herbs that I'm definitely out of. I just I don't have enough. I didn't have enough money to make an herb order and to do the money for the live. So yeah, it's well. I mean, I don't. There shouldn't be any seeds in it because it's just wormwood herb. Maybe some of the seeds could be chunks from the black walnut hulls, but the wormwood, I believe, is the only one in there because there's Oregon grape in there too. Everything else in there is a powder. The wormwood is the only one I have that's not a powder. So I'm not a big fan of powders, but some of them I have, like the main ingredient's papaya seed. So I mean, you know, that had to be that that had to be a powder. You can't from what I could order whole papaya seeds, but I have to get them from like China, and I have to buy them in like 20-pound lots, and it's like I don't need that much. I can't afford that much. So, and then of course if they're whole, they're a pain in the butt to process because they're so hard. Oh, song reference. Got it. But yeah, it's. I think if I could find powders, some of the herbs that are in some of my blends, just they're very hard to find in powder, or if you get them in powder form, they're so expensive, and that makes it kind of difficult because I mean, to be fair, that cost has to translate over to the customer, So, and I don't really have a lot of markup on my stuff, not really. And once I get my own website, I'll take care of everything off of eBay, and getting ready to take the Love My Lungs off of eBay and bringing it back over to Etsy. It sells better over there. I have 5 listed on eBay if anybody's looking for Love My Lungs, but I don't have any listed on Etsy. I don't have enough. I'm missing a few herbs, like my main herb mullein is I'm all out of that. So once I get some more mullein in and a few other herbs, I can get that back up and going. Finally, it'd be nice to get that done. This is the time of the year for it. Oh my gosh, you're so needy. He's happy. He got another chocolate cake today. So He got his piece of chocolate cake. Huh. Oh my gosh, you're such a baby. And I have the arthritis and joint capsules, but I can't sell those on Etsy for whatever reason. I think it's the title, so it breaks their guidelines violation. So I have those, but they're only available over on eBay. So what a pain in the ass. Dealing with those two is frustrating. So, but they have a bigger customer base, right? So you have to kind of go where the customers are. That's the downside to it, because the channels don't necessarily promote my content. So there's that. Check out recent nicotine studies. Oh, I've done lots of research on nicotine, and it's been demonized for a long time. Yeah, I'm very well aware. And nicotine's in actually a huge amount of our foods too. Any of the nightshades. So you're looking at tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, all of the potatoes. All of those they have nicotine in them. All of them do. So, green tomatoes will typically tend to have more. The younger shoots will definitely be loaded with them. The younger shoots of the plants will be loaded with it. But yeah, all your nightshades have nicotine in them too. So, and that's not talked about. Nicotine has a lot of benefits medicinally. So, oh, you got the arthritis lotion? Nice. I use it. I've been using it at work. My shoulder's been kind of froggy, so I use it at work. I have a lady that stops by. She's one of the material handlers. She does hand driven forklift. Essentially, is what it is. And about twice a day, she'll stop by if I have my lunchbox with me. She'll, hey, can I get some of that lotion? Because she has a bad knee. She'll put it on her knee so she can get through the day. Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah, a lot of people don't talk about nicotine. I mean, now to be fair, nicotine's also an insecticide, right? You could take a cigar and get one of those big fat cigars and you put it in like a jar of water and make a sun tea out of it, right? Strain it out, and that water will kill insects. So it's a pretty potent insecticide as well. Wild crafted mullein. Well, I order in bulk. I mean, I don't know, do you sell in bulk? Because I have to order all the other herbs that go with it. I see I have horehound, but I'm gonna need some ginger. Probably gonna need to get more peppermint. So I'm getting ready to make an herb order, and I don't order small amounts. I'll usually do like a $300 order. That way I'm sure to get free shipping. So you order over a certain amount, you get free shipping depending on where you go. Um, Frontier and Frontier and Herbco both do the 250. Star West, I think it used to be 75, but I think they bumped it to 150. Free shipping on orders as long as you're a wholesale member. You have to be a wholesale member for that. So, and you have to go through the process of filling out all their stupid forms, and it's kind of a pain in the butt, but it's worth it with what you save. I was actually considering getting a bunch of some of the stuff on Frontier. I get a lot of the Prince of Peace stuff, which is like ginseng extracts and ginkgo extracts and things, but they're in small little shots. And I can buy like large quantities of them, big boxes of them, and then I sell them out, parcel out, singles, um, and those usually sell pretty well. Every now and then you can even sell a box, but the boxes are kind of spendy when you do have to make a profit. So to get it wholesale, it's pretty good. To get it retail, it costs quite a bit more. But again, I got to wait for sales to pick up before I do that. So I did pick up enough patrons that it's only going to take next month's um, patron payment to pay for the video access that we need to do the lives. So, thanks for the patrons, you guys. So what we're gonna do, I went to the poll. Um, on the poll, see if I can find it real quick. We voted for Tuesday nights is when we're actually gonna be doing them. But in the poll, the second night that we chose, let's see, there was two. Oh, yeah, great. So 57% voted for Tuesday night, 21% voted for Wednesday, and 21% voted for Thursday. So we're going to pick either Wednesday or Thursday. And what we'll do with that is that'll be the night that, either every week or every other week, we'll do a live for paid members, or maybe just members only, something like that. And, but it'll only be over on Patreon. Well, I'll probably just do paid members, and then it'll be questions and answers just for paid members. Wednesday or Thursday. That way Tuesday we'll do the herb course, and then might as well get the most of it. I'm paying so much money to have it. It makes sense to might as well use it. And since you guys are the ones that paid for it, you guys should be the ones to benefit from it, to be fair. So that's how that'll work. I mean, you could still technically go and vote, and then that would help to decide Wednesday or Thursday, Cindy, if you really wanted to. That would, I mean, but to be fair, I'll probably make it Thursday. And the reason why is I do have to kind of stagger my days. Otherwise, I won't have time to do my videos throughout the week. I don't normally do videos on the weekends. I do, but I'll do them and save them so that way I have less to do throughout the week. And, like yesterday, we worked again. So we're doing mandatory overtime plus every other Saturday. So that limits the amount of time that I can do videos. And unless I do really short videos. So it'll probably be Thursday. So it'll be Tuesday night we'll do the course, and then Thursday nights we'll do the lives, and it'll be just kind of a hangout, tea with the herb guy kind of thing. But you guys can come with questions. I will not come with any type of format, right? I'm not going to come with any type of topic or anything like that. When it comes for those, it'll be for you guys, and it'll be like an open forum discussion. Somebody will pick a topic, and then we'll talk about it. Just going, well, whatever you want to talk about isn't very helpful. It doesn't give me anything. I could talk about a ton of stuff, right? And it just makes more sense to pick a topic. First thing comes to your head, then we can run with that. That makes more sense to me. Because believe it or not, I do end up not having ideas, and that's where you guys come in, and you have to have some ideas so you can help me guide the content. Kind of like a class. I mean, it'll be like an impromptu open discussion, but it'll only be for paid members. And then we'll see how long I do that. I mean, realistically speaking, it was all the paid members that made it possible for me to be able to get it. So, oh my God, you're so needy tonight. It keeps bumping my arm. So it makes sense that they all benefit. But I mean, I've also been doing some things just specifically for $3 members too. So. Because let's see, we have Oklahoma coming up for the top 3 herbs from each state. I had to kind of put that one on pause because the last time when I did Ohio, TikTok banned it. So they hit it with a community guidelines violation, and they hit the appeal like within seconds of me asking for the appeal. So I don't really want to put it that I didn't really want to put that much effort into doing those videos. Those videos are quite intensive. I didn't want to put together a video like that. Wanted to have them turn around and ban it because nobody gets to see it then. So I do the video. It's here. It's on my Patreon page. It's not here on YouTube, but it's on my Patreon page. So any of the $3 members have access to that. All the top 3 herbs from each state stuff is $3 members because they also get the documentation that goes with it. So if he could climb into my lap, he would, but he's too big. I mean, he doesn't think he's too big. If I was sitting on a couch or, some sort of a bigger chair, he'd be up in my lap. No, they banned Ohio. Oklahoma is the next one that I'm working on. So, and of course, the apothecary handbook came up, and that one kind of took precedence over the top 3 herbs from each state. Even though the herbs from the top 3 herbs from each state are going to be in the next book, there's 150 of those versus 25 for the apothecary handbook. My own state, right? They banned my own state. Yeah. I think it's up on TikTok or Instagram. I think Instagram's left it up, but I don't get as much traction on Instagram. So Yeah, so tomorrow we'll do the home remedy for lungs, and so this will help for sinuses, lungs, and I don't want to give it too much away, but it it you're going to be doing something that we don't know that I don't normally say we do with our herbs, right? And so for a couple of you, you're gonna be like, wait a second, you said never to do that. But in this particular instance, you kind of have to do it because what we're trying for a different way of getting the compounds, and you just have to watch the video tomorrow to see what I'm talking about. I am deliberately trying to be cryptic, so that way, if I don't know, was there still 5 of you, 6 of you? That way, all 6 of you will have to go find that video tomorrow and figure it out. What do I know about Speedwell? I don't even know what that is. If it's a common name for an herb, it could be just a common name for your area, and the botanical name is what's important, the Latin or the scientific name. So if you happen to have that, I might recognize it. What ginger? Takes a while for people to type a question. So Ginger's in heat again. So yeah, she definitely wants to talk. She's been running around. She's been terrorizing poor Morpheus. The other day I caught her. She was in there. She was laying on his head like a hat. So and he's just looking at me like, really, Dad? I'm like, sorry, dude. So she was just kind of draped over his head, had her hands on either side of his head. And he was just kind of looking at me like, I can't believe you're letting this happen. So Morpheus had a hat. He puts up with her. Every now and then I'll catch him and Pepper snuggling too. But for the most part, the bed is Morpheus's, and he doesn't always care for the other animals to be on it with him. So he could be kind of a jerk sometimes, especially if he feels they're getting more attention than he is. Oh my God, he's such an attention baby, aren't you? Huh. Not seeing any more questions. We could talk about next week. We can talk about some of the newer things that they're finding, newer studies. You have to be kind of careful which studies we talk about, though. They found some new ones talking about spike proteins and things like that. So maybe we can talk about some spike proteins next week. It seems to be a big topic of discussion right now. Tuberculosis seems to be another one that's, depending on which platform you're on. Let's see, what's the other one? Pneumonia, a lot of lung issues. I see there's a lot of lung things going on online. A lot of people talking about lung stuff. So that would be a good one to address for sure. All right, I'm done petting you, dude. My arm is tired. I don't care. You can't fit through there. You were too big. I'm not petting you anymore. My arm is tired. Respiratory. So yeah, it'll be long. Maybe I'll just focus on lung stuff this week. Let's see. Really high blood pressure. That's kind of vague, to be fair. What's the cause of blood pressure? Obesity, or is it old age, inflammation? That's part of it. That's why a lot of times questions like that are so difficult to answer. And I see a lot of other herbalists that'll jump right out. Like, I don't get me wrong, I had a slew of herbs that jumped in my head when you said that, but a lot of it is you have to figure out what the root cause. Bad diet, lots of stress, all that stuff leads to high blood pressure. You know. Yeah, it could be familial. Have a friend that will not stop with sugar. Yeah, that's definitely part of it. And oftentimes, to be fair, sugar craving is often protein related. You're not getting enough protein, you're craving sugar. Protein gives you energy, but so does sugar. Sugar gives you that temporary energy in the crash, but the protein gives you energy, and helps build muscle mass and strengthen your body. Stress. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing though, if they're not going to stop the sugar, there really isn't any point. You're not going to herb your way out of that. You know, I mean, it's going to have to take some self-control on their part. And a lot of people don't like to hear that. Like a lot of people that I talk to, a lot of my clients, when we do the health and wellness consultations, they don't necessarily like the fact that there's no herb that's going to fix everything. Well, at some point, you're part of the reason why you got there. So you have to be part of the reason why you get out of there. You have to be the main reason why you get out of there. How to stop cravings. There have been a few herbs that have been shown. Passion flower is good for that. Chicory root seems to be good for that. You're plugged in. It says it's plugged in, but my power and battery saver is on. Unless my dog unplugged it. Hold on, let me make sure everything's plugged in. Could be because we're streaming live too. Oh, you stupid animals.